We've got on line 2 Charlie in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Hey, wow, it's great to talk to you guys.
Hey, thanks for calling.
I got on a day when Matt's there. It's a miracle.
Oh, it's not a miracle. I do this show quite often.
I think you were on the schedule.
So as somebody who has been watching every season of Hawaii Five-0 now over the course of this vacation, mahalo, what did you want to talk about?
I wanted to present you with a scenario about for some evidence of the existence of God.
Which God?
See what you Jehovah,
Okay.
God of the Jews.
Okay.
So, okay, one of the things is that this planet and this universe it really doesn't work. It's not it's not reasonable, and it's really not scientific because things like oxygen doesn't wear out. It isn't used up. It just works over and over and over and over and over and over again.
I'm afraid you don't.
It's not scientific and it's not reasonable.
Well, I would say it's probably not scientific because it's also not true. You do realize that when you breathe in oxygen, your system breaks it down, and then you exhale carbon dioxide.
No, that's not true. The carbon dioxide, the oxygen atom on the carbon dioxide is the same one that you breathed in.
Oh, I understand that. What I'm saying is that what you're describing, that oxygen never wears out. Oxygen is used, and it can be. Well, go ahead with your thought.
Well, that's it. It's just a strange phenomenon.
Let's assume that it's a strange phenomenon and that an oxygen, molecule. An oxygen atom. My brain's not working today. Stays the same forever and never changes. So what?
Yeah.
What is it about that that's unscientific?
Well, how can it possibly be? I mean,
that's not an argument to say that I don't understand how this could be the case, and therefore it means it's likely there's a God. That is, by definition, a fallacy of an argument from ignorance.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is that this place does not work. Something is causing it.
What do you mean it doesn't? What do you mean it doesn't work? It seems to work. It seems to have worked for billions of years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, it does work. Something is causing it to work. It's not, but it doesn't actually work. Oxygen is not used up. Nothing is used up. Everything decays back to its atoms, and then it becomes something else. It goes right back on. We're living in a giant terrarium.
Okay, so even if we were to accept that that we couldn't explain, how these things came to be, how oxygen atoms stay intact over time. How does that lead to a deity of some sort, or specifically your Jehovah?
Well, because I'm just saying that this whole universe, this planet, it's ridiculous. The darn thing cannot work. It doesn't work. It's not reasonable that things like are reused again and again and again. They're not used up.
What's unreasonable about that? Because you seem to have this view of reality as if it's something other than what it is, which is just patterns in motion.
Well, yeah, but you have these elements that make up things, and it's not the stuff isn't used up. Oxygen goes into a flame to make it burn, but the oxygen isn't used up.
Yeah. So we're talking about the atoms, I wouldn't say the base particles of the universe, but you do realize that these are created in stars. It's not like they always existed, right?
Well, science. That's what science says. They've always existed.
Okay, when you say that's
anyway.
Charles, when you say that's what science says, let's not pretend that science is like, I don't know, a spaceship hovering out in the middle of nowhere disseminating information. We're talking about the descriptions of the universe by the people who have devoted their lives to studying it and giving us the best explanations, that these are constantly subject to revision when we find new information. So let's not pretend that like science is some entity sitting out there saying, Yep, this is the way it is. Let's not talk about science that way. If you're objecting,
Okay.
if you're objecting and you're going to say that the universe is unreasonable, the argument that you seem to have made is here are atoms and they don't get
Yeah.
used up, and that's
Yeah.
unreasonable, therefore God.
Yeah.
That's your argument?
Well, I'm saying that something has to be causing the thing to work because it doesn't work.
No.
It's unreasonable.
You haven't. First of all, you need to define work. What do you mean by work? Because you've said it works and it doesn't work. When I think what you
Well,
mean,
there's,
what I think you mean is that it works even though you think it shouldn't.
No. I'm saying that it's totally unreasonable. It can't work. Life cannot exist on this darn thing. We're sitting in space.
I'm doing
rock.
Charles, I'm doing everything I can to reform your babble into something sensible. Because you keep making these hyperbolic statements about life can't exist here. Yeah. Well, it does, so clearly that statement isn't true. What you mean to say is it doesn't seem to be that we have an explanation for how life can exist here, even though it does. That's a much different...
I'm saying that... No. I'm saying that it does work.
Correct, but how many times have you said it doesn't work?
No. I'm saying it cannot work.
Okay.
Something is causing
No.
it to work.
Okay, this is what I'm... Oh, Charles, for crying out loud. You keep using shortcuts. You say it doesn't work, and then when I correct that, you say it can't work, when what you really mean is you do not see how it can work without something else contributing.
Okay.
Then let's use that phrasing. Because when you say something like it can't work, when we have clear evidence that it does work, you look crazy.
No, all we have evidence of is that it is working.
And I should say irrational there. I mean, you look irrational when you say that. So we're back to what I was talking about a moment ago, which is the universe appears to be functioning.
Yes.
And you don't see how that's possible without the intervention of some deity.
Well, yeah, because it's not scientific. It's not reasonable.
Okay, I don't think either of us knows enough about science to engage on your claim that it's not scientific, because science is descriptive, not prescriptive. Science does its best to explain how things are working. The fact that science doesn't have an explanation for it does not mean that something is irrational or unreasonable or impossible.
You mean you think that it's reasonable that oxygen just works over and over and over? It doesn't wear out?
Even if
it's not used up?
Even if we said that, say we didn't know anything about the atoms or anything to that effect, that still wouldn't necessarily lead us to a deity or your specific deity, Jehovah, that you're referencing. And that's what I'm trying to get that particular portion. You're saying that you don't understand how, that you see that the universe is working, that we're alive here on space, but you're saying that we shouldn't be, that we're just a floating ball or whatever else. But you're saying that you can't see how that's going, which, I mean, that's just saying that you don't know how that it's actually working. But rather than just saying that, oh, you don't know how this universe is working correctly, how we're still here, how we're alive, rather than just saying that, you're saying that, oh, well, God is intervening, but not just any deity, your specific one named Jehovah, as you mentioned before. And so that's why I'm trying to get that disconnect from the fact that you don't know and don't understand how it's working to it's a deity, a specific one, Jehovah, the one that you believe in, I'm assuming.
No, that's not what I said. I said I believe in Jehovah. I'm not saying that anybody else believes in Jehovah or has to believe in Jehovah, or that Jehovah is the one that's doing it. I'm just putting forth this scenario.
No, if we rewound the tape, we would get back to the beginning of this call where you were going to present evidence and argument for God, and I said, which God? And you said Jehovah.
Yeah, well, that's the God I'm talking about.
Okay, but nothing in your argument, even if it were correct, even if, I would recommend also that you do some research on radioactive decay, but even if your argument were correct, it doesn't get you to Jehovah, so it's not an argument for the God you believe in or the God you claimed you were going to give an argument for.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I believe in this God Jehovah.
Why?
I'm not saying...
Why?
Well, because he's with me, within me, a part of me.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm the one who let him in.
You're the one who what?
let him in.
Okay, how did you let him in?
Well, same thing where you take air in. You just let it in. You don't have to do anything. The air will come in if you let it in. Jehovah will come in if you let him in.
Okay, how do you do that?
Just like you let in air. Just let it in.
Is Jehovah in me now? I just let some air in.
No, Jehovah's not. Well, he might be the air, but the kingdom is different from the air.
Is Jehovah in me?
If you let him in.
If I don't let him in, does that mean I'm more powerful than Jehovah? And does it also mean that Jehovah isn't everywhere?
No.
Is Jehovah is Jehovah everywhere?
Yes.
Then how could he possibly not be in me if he's everywhere?
Well, because you have he's given you a free
No,
will
you
to
just
reject
said
him.
you just said that Jehovah. You just said, Charles. You just said that Jehovah is everywhere, and you said that Jehovah is not in me. Those two statements are contradictory.
Okay, well, you could take the attitude of the Hindu and say he is in you, but you don't realize it, so you have to meditate and withdraw into
Okay,
the Atman.
but now what we're engaged in, Charles, unfortunately, is you're doing whatever tap dance you can so that every time I show that your position is, by definition, contradictory, fallacious, unreasonable, you just make up some new bullshit.
Well, I didn't make an unreasonable statement about oxygen. Oxygen does not use up.
Do you not know anything about radioactive decay, including unstable isotopes of oxygen?
Oh, well, I don't really understand the theory. But
Yeah, okay. I tell you what, we're going to move on to another caller, Charles, because anybody who calls in to say that they don't understand the science while simultaneously claiming that something is unscientific and that this is evidence for God, the specific God that they believe in, that they let in just like air, but they're not actually saying that this is the God that anybody has to believe in, has wasted my time.